Hi everyone, Daniel Chai here. So today I'm going to talk about doing a fly rig. Now the word fly rig can mean different things to different people. I'm just going to define it fly rig as something that is very portable, something that you can bring to a gig that's easy to set up and easy to tear down, and it's something that's light as well. Now if you're like me, a gigging musician who do a lot of sessions and live shows, it's inevitable that you will come across certain gigs that really demand that you set up and tear down really quickly. This could be music festivals or even just one-off corporate shows that, like perhaps before and after, there might be other artists who are performing, or there may be a host or maybe a guest of honor speaking. So like recently I did a casino gig whereby there was another band before us and we only had like less than 10 minutes to set up and sound check, and I brought the new GX1 with me. Now I did a video on this recently, and this Boss GX1 has really been very useful for me recently for like quick rehearsals and a quick gig like the casino gig I mentioned, because this thing can be battery powered or it can be powered from a power bank. So literally I can walk on stage with this and all I need is basically a line from the front of house. In fact, I also did 2 videos on an acoustic pedalboard build. This acoustic pedalboard has gone through a few changes. You can check out those videos if you want to. And basically this pedalboard was built as a kind of an acoustic guitar fly rig. It's got all the basic stuff that I need: EQ, the preamp, reverb, tuner. But even then I found it a little heavy. So recently I actually got this Trace Eilliot Transit A pedalboard, which is pretty decent. And I've been using this on tour actually. I guess in recent years, people have been trying to scale down because of various reasons. One could be just that it's possible because chips are getting smaller, are getting more powerful. Now, there is one thing that I find that is kind of a missing link in all this, is basically having a wireless. Now, a lot of the big tours that I do, the wireless actually is provided because it's in our tech rider. And these are usually the big brands like Shure, Sennheiser. And a lot of times they even have backups if one of the wireless fails. For these fly dates or fly rigs, you kind of have to bring the stuff on your own because, like I said, maybe it's a budget issue or it's just basically not something that is provided. Now over the years, I've had my own prosumer kind of wireless systems. Like for example, I have this old Line 6 wireless. It comes with a pack. In fact, these two are from different systems that I just kind of put together. They kind of sync. So I've been using them for a while. But as you can tell, this one basically needs power, and it's kind of a handful. You know, there's antennas and everything, so it's kind of a pain to set up if you're in a hurry. And these are really old, so you can actually sense there's a bit of latency when you play. And the tone kind of changes. In fact, there's this cable tone knob that lets you change, I guess, the EQ of the tone that you want. So recently, as I've been getting more fly dates or small little events, like I said, kind of hit and run kind of events where I have to really plug and play and then get in and out really quick. So I've been thinking about putting together a more solid kind of fly rigs for these fly dates. And coincidentally, Xvive actually reached out to me and asked if I was interested in any of their products. So obviously I asked if I could loan a guitar wireless system. And I asked them for the A58 guitar wireless system, which I received a few days ago. So let me quickly kind of run through what this is. It comes with a pouch, charging cable for the receiver and the transmitter, which you see here. It's very clearly labeled receiver and transmitter. And immediately what I love about this is that this can be angled. Because there are a few kind of like this prosumer kind of wireless systems that are straight and you can't really angle this, but this is great because both of this can be angled. The second thing I like about this is that they've got physical on-off switches. Now a lot of devices in the market right now have the kind of switch where you hold and press and the thing turns on. I don't really quite like that. And this is really easy to use. basically the functions are all here. There's just two buttons, on off, and then the other one is a channel switching mode or scan, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, what I really like about this as well is that it actually comes with a small little manual. Obviously, a lot of devices that you buy in the market, you can find their manual online, but to have a small little simple booklet like this, which is very to the point, I think it's just excellent because it got me started up like in 1 minute. I kind of scanned through this and then, okay, kind of understood everything that is here. Now, a few other features about this wireless is that it's basically in the 5.8 gigahertz range. Now, there's a lot of information online about the difference between 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz. Go read up about it, but 5.8 is the current go-to frequency for a lot of this prosumer stuff. It's less cluttered, and because you can switch between different channels, and even says in the manual, and it shows you the different frequencies that these 6 channels are at. I think that's wonderful. So to be clear, this is not a product review at all. Xvive did reach out to me, so I thought since I'm putting together Flyrigs, let me just incorporate the Xvive wireless system into my Flyrigs. Now, this coming week, I do have another fly date coming up, but it's just for acoustic guitar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Trace Eilliot Transit A, and I'm going to use the Xvive wireless system. But before that, I'm just going to do a bit of testing in my studio in terms of latency, whether there's any tone difference, and then we see how it goes. By the way, I just want to add that at this time, while I'm doing this video, there is a AC58, which is basically the same thing as this, but it comes with a chargeable pack. Something like this. This is like my NUX in-ear monitoring system wireless, which you can charge from the pack itself or a case, a charging case. But for the Xvive, I actually specifically asked for the A58 rather than the AC58, just because I find that, as I said, this is supposed to be a fly rig. I want everything as small and compact as possible, and this is definitely smaller than something like this. Because the Xvive's AC case, it's similar to this size and it's heavier. Okay, so let's do some setting up.
年少时候，谁没有梦？一直祝你将心愿透露。就在你生日的时候，我将小小口琴送回，难忘记你的笑容。友情的溪水慢慢流。冲一杯浓浓的咖啡，带上自己的方向。三两个朋友过来喝一杯，我心中有那句没拉断。
道路上车辆很重，有人转，十字路口有谁在彷徨？你看不清你自己，颜色是平常。Everybody say， Coffee Coffee
是否依旧？从1987年唱到今天，这首歌已经传唱了将近40年。新谣是每个人的老朋友了，老朋友也可以有新的希望、新的能量，就像歌曲所唱的一样，人愿长久，水愿长流。
Okay, so just wanted to kind of finish up on this very simple video about my Flyrigs, and the acoustic session was successful. No issues with the Xvive A58 wireless. It went great. It sounded great. I barely felt any latency in its usage. It worked really well together with my Eilliot Transit A. So I look forward to being able to use it again with my electric rig this time if an opportunity comes out for a electric guitar kind of fly date. Now, there are a lot of videos out there regarding wireless systems, Flyrigs. This is just my take on this and how I use this with my own workflow, because I have major tours going on. I'm in orchestral pit for musical theatre stuff, but these things like the Boss GX1, the Eilliot Transit A acoustic DI, and the Xvive wireless is really helpful, or they are really helpful in circumstances where I need to really do hit and run gigs, just plug and play and then leave the stage, So once again, thanks for watching me talking about my own personal stuff for my gigs. If you did get anything out of this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.